Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And Scott Cawthon, the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, has retired due to pressure from Twitter and Reddit and sites like Kotaku, who were calling him out for donating to Donald Trump.
Now, again, I want to reiterate that in this country, you are allowed to vote for who you want to. You're allowed to donate money to whom you want to. And I'm getting very, very, very tired of places like Kotaku and Meow and Twitter and stuff trying to get people canceled for not doing what they said. That sounds very familiar. That sounds almost like China, where you have to do certain things or you're in trouble because you didn't do what they wanted you to do. This is setting a very dangerous precedent. And this is coming from somebody who's independent, because I think both sides are full of shit at this point.
Yeah, I've actually never given any money to any politicians because I don't trust any of them.
No, I think both sides are crap. But I also understand that, I'm so tired of hearing this narrative, because if you would take anything, okay, if you're going to say something and you flip it, and if you flip it and it sounds like a horrible, shitty thing that you'd be outraged by, you're doing a horrible, shitty thing, and you need to knock it off.
So we're going to talk about this. He's been, I think he canceled himself. I think he probably looked at the situation and he was like, I'm already rich. My wife is pregnant. His wife was getting threats.
Yeah, and these stories were done after they knew that his wife was getting threats, and they still did them.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about this, and we're gonna talk about all these companies that a lot of people who are cancel happy probably patronize that also gave to Donald Trump.
Right. Because as I've mentioned before, many, many times, that these companies give to both. And the reason is because then they can call in favors on either side. So you're sitting there complaining and canceling people, which, by the way, Scott Cawthon did not just give to Republicans. No. If you actually, bother to look, but you don't, because you're too busy listening to these outrage places like Kotaku and stuff, trusted quote-unquote media.
So we're gonna talk about that. Before we get into it any further, please give us a sub. We're at 199,000. 199,000. Yeah, we're almost to 200,000. So thank you for the support. This is sad because I did not think he was gonna bend the knee. We did a video a couple days ago where he released a statement. He said basically, I'm not gonna apologize for my beliefs and my political affiliations and all that. And just to recap, for those of you who have not been following the situation, we're talking about Scott Cawthon, who is the creator of the insanely popular Five Nights at Freddy's video game franchise. Everybody has heard of this game, even if you've never played it. There are toys and knockoffs and all kinds of crazy stuff about this game. And just last week, Twitter and Reddit were digging up Scott Cawthon's donation history, because that's public information. You give to a candidate, whether you're a company or an individual, you can find out who donated to who. Now, this shouldn't have shocked anybody, because Scott Cawthon has been an outspoken Christian in the past. Everybody knows most people know he did Christian games before he did.
I know, it's just so weird that he did Five Nights at Freddy's. It always blew my mind. Anyway.
It is weird. So he did Five Nights at Freddy's after many Christian games. And it shouldn't surprise anyone that he leans conservative. And, anyway, Twitter and Reddit ran with it like, did you know that Scott Cawthon, right before E3 weekend.
Yeah, it's a little convenient, don't you think?
And there is
a little bit convenient.
Yeah, there is another Freddy's game coming out for the PS5. So it's kind of weird. I gotta wonder what's going on back channel.
Well, I do think it was I do think that the reason he caved was because, one, his wife's pregnant, and he said they were worried about the effects on her and the baby, and two, I think it was a matter of, it'd be a real shame if all the people you have working for you couldn't finish out the games or couldn't do this or that. It would hurt all these people if you didn't do what we wanted. And I'm getting tired of this bullying bullshit.
So here's the timeline as I understand it. It was posted on his donation history was posted on Reddit and also on Twitter. But the one
account looked like an alt account.
Yeah, it looked like an alt account. The news outlet, and I'm using that term loosely, I think that did the most damage was actually this Meow, because we were watching this situation unfold over the weekend, and they were literally posting Scott Cawthon cleverly keyworded Scott Cawthon articles over the weekend. Anything you could think of to search for, like, who is Scott Cawthon? He's a Republican who gave to Trump. Who is Scott Cawthon's wife? Well, she's married to a Republican who came, and here's her
It came
picture.
across as a targeted campaign to try to make sure that any way it was searched, he'd come up that way, which is absolute shit. And they might get sued for it, honestly.
Well, I think they're based in India or something, so I'm not sure,
But then they were paid to do it.
I wondered that. We've talked to people who wondered that too, because it's very odd. It was like literally every 12 hours, variations of the same article, citing all these people on Twitter and Reddit. And again, this shouldn't shock anybody because, Cawthon's been an outspoken Christian for a number of years.
Right, but the problem is, in America, you have the right to vote for who you want to vote for. You have the right to give money to whom you want to give money to. This is a problem in the fact that that if you don't do what certain people want you to do, that you can lose, you can get canceled, have to step down, whatever, because they don't like who you voted for. Well, what if it was this? What if it was in reverse? What if everybody's coming after them for giving money to somebody who they believe they should give money to? I would say either side, it would be wrong to cancel somebody, because I think you have a right to do that. Whether you vote the same way as me or not, you still have that right. And this is becoming a witch hunt, a bullying tactic for the people that go on about fascists an awful lot. They sure as hell act like them.
Yeah, this is very much like China's social credit score. You did the wrong thing. We're gonna make sure that you are publicly shamed. Now, before we get into Cawthon's statement on why he left, and there's actually been a lot of support for Cawthon on Twitter, including a lot of LGBTQ people.
Because don't you know, according to these leftist morons on Twitter, that it's against minorities to vote Republican or support Republican candidates. Except there are a lot of minorities who are Republican. It's against LGBTQ plus people to do this or that or the other. Even though a lot of them, there are a bunch of them that are also Republican, or might have voted the way you didn't like, because, it's not either, it's like black and white, everything's black and white, divided up evenly kind of thing. And, I'm tired of them spinning it like it is, because that's not the truth.
So before I get into that, though, I just want to point out that if we're gonna start nitpicking who you can and can't support based on their political donations.
I told you, I brought this up to you. I said, go look. You'll find that a lot of these companies give to both.
So you can go to opensecrets.org. I think that's where they got Scott Cawthon's donation history. And you can see the top contributors. Now, this isn't the 2016 cycle for Trump.
This is 2020, guys.
2020. One of the top 5 is Disney. They gave Trump over $10 million.
Right, because a lot of these companies are going to give it, if not to him, they'll give it to the Republican National Convention, because they want to make sure that no matter who wins, they own them in some way.
Yeah.
And that's what we keep telling you. They're all owned by the same people anyway.
So that's really interesting.
We looked other places up too.
Oh, I've got a bunch. So Disney's one, they gave over $10 million to Trump, right? Uline, if you buy packing supplies, just realize that Uline, the biggest package supplier in the world, I think the world.
Well, if you look at each of these people, most often they give to both sides.
Yeah,
that's the point.
Well, I'm going to bring up individual companies, but they gave Trump over $4 million. Amazon, which everybody's like, well, Amazon's progressive. We got a video coming up later today about Amazon, and you can see, they gave to Joe Biden. They gave the most to Joe Biden, DNC, and then you get down here. Oh my God. Almost $300,000 to Trump from Amazon people.
Thing is, they might give to one party more, but they're going to give to both because they want to have control.
Trump again. People from Target. People from Target have donated. Now, here's the thing: you got to break it down by whether it came from the organization itself or from individuals that work at the organization. But regardless, Trump got $86,000. Target themselves gave both the Democrats and the Republicans the same amount of money themselves, and then we had individuals put money on top of that. Republican National Committee got $45,000.
So my point is, what I've been telling you guys, is they all give to the same people. These companies do this all the time. So if you're going to cancel somebody for giving money, and if you look at Scott's donations, he admittedly gave to other candidates who weren't Republican. He based it on the candidate and what their platform was, which is what we do. We don't give money to politicians, Republican or Democrat, but we look at, when we vote or anything, we look at the campaigns and what the people represent, not by the party, because, it doesn't, parties, just by voting party can be,
It can be dangerous.
Yes, it can be
very
this is dangerous.
This one is, I love this one. This one's great. This is Comcast. Comcast owns DreamWorks. DreamWorks produced She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. Comcast, the company, gave the Republican National Committee $210,000. They also gave, they gave them way more than they gave the Democrats.
Right. So my point, so the point is, if you're going to go canceling every company that gave Republicans money, which in itself is a bunch of bullshit, because in America, you have that right to do that. And if not, you shouldn't be punished for doing it. But you're going to be canceling a whole shit ton of companies, including the ones that you kissed their ass for.
Yeah.
And a lot of these places had the Black Lives Matter hashtag and all that.
Yes, they did. AT&T, they gave a bunch of money to Republicans and to Mitch McConnell. AT&T owns Warner Media. Warner Media owns Cartoon Network and Adult Swim and DC Comics.
So we can play this game all damn day. The point is, you want to sit there and cancel everybody who didn't vote the way you wanted and are doing these hit pieces out there trying to do it, which besides the fact that, just on ethical reasons about the fact that, you're not allowed, that's bullshit, because you have the right to vote for who you want. You have the right to give money to who you want. Yeah. There's corporations out there doing the same thing that you kiss their ass.
Oh, Starbucks, $42,000 to Donald Trump.
That wasn't the organization, but individuals at the organization. Yes. Yeah. So again.
No, the organization did not give any money
to anybody. But
people speaking for the company did give money to Trump and the Republican National Committee.
So here's the thing, because in the United States, and by the election results, it was split pretty evenly, right? So you cannot say, well, half the country is, what happened if it was the other way? What happened if the other side decided they were going to cancel all the Democrats who they didn't like, and went out and acted the way towards you that you're acting towards other people? And I would say that was wrong too. I would say the exact same thing I'm saying to you now, because this is not about Republican or Democrat. It's about what's right and wrong and what rights you have in this country, and how utter bully, Gestapo bullshit this is. And it's not okay, and it's not right. And if you want rights and you want to yell about your rights, then you have to understand that your rights, they're your right. You have the same rights. Other people have those rights too.
You like wrestling, right? You like wrestling? Well, Linda McMahon gave $360,000 to Trump's reelection. So I'm just saying, if you're going to cancel Scott Cawthon, he is small potatoes.
Estee Lauder gave money.
Estee Lauder, yeah.
Bubblegum Shrimp. Marvel.
This is interesting. So Marvel, now I don't know how much Ike Perlmutter has in Marvel anymore, but he is actually a very good personal friend of Donald Trump. In fact, some of the first bills that Donald Trump signed were with Ike Perlmutter's pen. Like, they're really, really, really good friends, and he was in charge of Now, I think Kevin Feige has more or less kicked Ike Perlmutter out, but for the longest time, Ike Perlmutter was besties with Donald Trump, and he was in charge of Marvel. So,
well, I want to point out too, though, even things that you said about signing things, if you go look through bills and stuff that have been signed in the last 20 years or so, and you look, there are probably ones that you feel benefit you that were not Democrats, and there are probably ones that you feel that don't benefit you that were Democrats, and vice versa. Same for the Republicans. So I'm like, you sit there and you're like, because of since 2016 on, this ridiculous Twitter-driven bullshit and these media outlet bullshit mindset of divisive tactics and all this crap. And to what end? Everybody's just gonna be divisive and fighting each other. And what does that help? It means nothing gets done. And this bullshit purity test. And by either extreme, honestly. The bullshit purity test that they're trying to put out there, people cannot pass them. The companies that you cannot pass them, nobody can pass them, because it's absolute garbage and BS. Because in this country, you're going to have different voices. That's what makes this country what this country is. You can't say, I embrace diversity, I embrace all these things, and go on about inclusion, but then say, anybody who did this is a bad thing, because in my mind, they're one type of person, when they might not be the type of person you're picturing in your head. You might be going against diversity and everything by yelling and saying what you're saying. It's like, get your head out of your ass.
All right.
Continue. Back to the Christian developer.
Yeah, back to the Christian developer, Scott Cawthon, who, I wondered the other day when we did the video, I'm like, this guy has ridiculous money.
And his wife is in a position where, you would have done the same thing.
I would have done. I don't think in this case, I don't think it's bending the knee so much because it's not like he doesn't need the money, and it sounds to me like he's had offers to sell the franchise.
I think it's because other people that would be impacted were held hostage, and he didn't want anything to happen to his people.
Well, it's kind of happened with Mojang with Notch because he's got some hot takes people don't like, but he did sell Minecraft. He sold Minecraft to Microsoft, and
then when people bitch about how stuff isn't as good as it used to be, I don't want to effing hear it.
Yeah. All right. So game developer Scott Cawthon retires after I don't think he's going to retire. I think he's going to go do something else. It's coming from The Wrap. Five Nights at Freddy's creator came under fire for donations to top Republicans. So this is what he said. He wrote on his website, "I've had a blessed, fulfilling, and rich career. I've been shown great kindness, and I've tried to show great kindness in return. I've tried to make some good games, let the debate ensue, and I've witnessed the creation of possibly the most creative and talented fan base on the planet." And we're going to talk about them too. He missed a lot of things that he got to focus on before FNAF became a success, like making games for his kids or just for fun. All of this is to say I'm retiring. I have been shown tremendous love and support over the last week, a lot of which has come from the LGBTQ community, and they've actually supported him on Twitter too.
Right, because Twitter doesn't speak for all of the community, just saying.
Earlier this week, Cawthon addressed the backlash to his donations, calling it surreal. Yeah, I mean, this is where we're at, guys. So Trump's out of office, and now Twitter, which has spent the last 4 or 5 years being obsessed about Trump, is going to go find notable people who might have supported him, and they're gonna chase them out of the industry.
On one side they're saying, "Hey, stop talking about Trump. It's over. We won. Ha ha ha." And then the other side of their face, they're like, "Keep bringing it up." I thought it was over.
So here comes Kotaku. Oh, good old Kotaku.
Well, they're barely holding on anyway.
I know. Sorry, FNAF creator Scott Cawthon. Make sure we get that in there so when somebody Googles FNAF creator Scott Cawthon, it comes up. Political donations don't work that way.
How do they work, Kotaku? How do they work?
You claim to love your queer fans while donating to Donald Trump.
How does show me the conflict? Because there's a lot of LGBTQ people Kotaku that are probably voted for Trump as well.
Yeah. So
when you ask for exact examples of why it's a problem, a conflict, they can't give you any.
All these companies that donated to Trump or to Republicans, you have to boycott all of them. You're not allowed to do because you're just not allowed to. That's your moral compass, right?
Right. There you go. So Kotaku better not take any money in advertising from any of those companies who might have donated to Republicans.
I mean, this is interesting because this is, I always call the far left activist types, I call them the religious left. And I see similarities between, I'm not talking your average Christian. I'm not talking, your average Christian. I'm talking like hyper Christian people.
We're not talking your average Democrat. We're talking the hyper ridiculous people that are taking this to extremes. We're talking like the small percentage of people.
Right. So when I was younger and I was in a hyper Christian group, which I think I've talked about before,
the cult.
I would actually label them a cult because of the control, whatever. They were so ridiculous. It was like you were not allowed to partake of things of the world because it might, might undermine your moral compass. You couldn't watch The Simpsons because you're going to be corrupted by The Simpsons. I'm like, if you're that weak-willed that you can't watch a PG-13 cartoon show without falling into debauchery, it's like you really got to question your faith, right? But I'm kind of saying this too, like, well, we can't have anything to do with any of these companies because somebody working at that company might have given some money to Donald Trump, so we need to boycott everything. Everybody.
I have never seen like this ever.
In other countries, I've seen it.
Yeah, countries that people are always concerned about how that behavior is not okay. But they're for all they're yelling and screaming about what's right and these like purity tests and all this other stuff. They would be calling out other countries, and they have been for doing the exact same damn thing they're doing.
Oh my God. Okay, so this is coming from Kotaku. Cawthon wrote in the aftermath of his donation disclosure, he and his family have been doxxed with people threatening to come to his house. I'm sure he has. Because you turn the Twitter mob on people and we see what happens. I unequivocally agree that Cawthon should not have to suffer threats to his family's safety.
We agree this because of his political affiliations. We agree this, but we're going to go and perpetuate it and keep bringing it up.
Yeah, because look at this, right? This is the thing. This is this low key kind of like, I don't think that people should dox and harass him, but he's really an awful person if he
Yeah, this
sort of
next part.
happens.
There's also what Kotaku doesn't work this way. It doesn't work this way, Kotaku, this next group of sentences, because people, you keep trying to label everyone who's Democrat is this, and everybody's Republican is that, and that's not the truth. But go ahead.
I've never met Cawthon. I've played and enjoyed his games, and from the fan testimonies I've seen online, I have no doubt that he is every bit the genuine and kind person people say he is. But none of that excuses the irreparable harm he's done to the people he purports to love.
What about the ones who voted Republican? Oh, wait, they don't exist according to Kotaku.
So Cawthon, of course, yeah, right.
Don't marginalize minorities unless they're the ones doing it.
It's all the black friend defense. Cawthon can't be homophobic or transphobic because of all the LGBTQ people he's
Oh my God, I'm
befriended.
so tired of hearing that. This is a load of shit. This is what sites like Kotaku and stuff use to try to be like that. You never appear enough because, well, unless you're that person, that type of person, you can't. It's just I have one black friend. Bullshit. I am so tired of this. You're racist even if you're married to a black person and you're white because you're white. I'm like, I'm so tired of this bullshit defense.
But like racism, the rampant homophobia and transphobia in this country is systemic. It's a vast network of laws and practices that work together. So basically, I don't agree that Scott Cawthon should be harassed, but you know what? He is a really awful person.
And here's
so
a bunch of reasons to go harass him.
Yeah.
But I would expect nothing less than trash out of Kotaku.
Oh my God.
I don't want to read anymore.
Yeah,
because I'm so tired. And you know what? I would say the same thing. I would not say people should go harass writers at Kotaku, if they didn't agree with me, because that's just wrong.
Well, thank you, Scott is trending. A lot of people, thousands and thousands of people are thanking him for FNAF. And
it's not right.
It's not right. Now he chose to step down, and apparently
I think he probably did because he was worried about about his wife, and he's worried about what was going to happen to his game, and he probably was threatened. It'd be a real shame if your deals fell through and all your people didn't get what they should have gotten. I will bet you anything that's what happened.
I believe he's had. I saw in one of the articles that they think that he's had an offer to sell the franchise.
I would be done with it, and then it's going to suck, and everybody's going to complain. Too bad. Blame Twitter. Blame Mia. Blame Kotaku.
Yeah. I have to wonder. I have to wonder that being the religious person that he is, the Christian person that he is, he might be looking at this situation and be like, you know what? I made a ton of money. I've made my mark. This might be God telling me to get out. That might be his rationale. Like it's time to leave.
My takeaway on all this is something needs to be done about this. And I'll tell you why. Because where it's coming to the place that if you don't do what they want you to do, that they're going to harass people like they harass them on Twitter and stuff. We're talking like targeted harassment, basically to threaten you to vote the way they want. And that's not what this country is about. And I'm getting really tired of it. And Twitter needs to crack down on this bullshit.
Twitter
social
perpetuates
media, yes,
this bullshit.
They need to crack down on this. These media outlets need to stop, feeding into it. It's a lot of crap. And I would say the same thing if they were doing this and they were going after Democrats for this exact same thing. Yeah. I would say the exact same damn thing.
I think everybody should be dealt with on an individual basis. I think everybody should be allowed to have their political beliefs, even if I vehemently disagree with you. If you're not bringing it to the workplace, right? I think you should be allowed to have those opinions. If you're not out there attacking our customers or attacking our fans, or writing hit pieces up, whatever, or participating in doxing or any of this bullshit, you can be allowed. You want to go to a protest. You want to, that's on you.
On your own time.
Right.
And the thing is, it's like I would say the same thing if someone was doing this because someone voted Democrat and gave money to Democrats. I didn't agree with. I would be saying the same thing. You have no right to. They have the right to do that. You don't have any right to dox them, to harass them, to try to get them to step down because they didn't do what you wanted. This is a load of shit, and it's not okay, and it needs to stop. And the people on Twitter, I think, are the biggest cause of it. They really, then Reddit too, apparently. This needs to be put to an end. I don't have to agree with everybody, but I never ever, have you ever heard me ever say, go cancel them? Have you ever heard me ever say, oh, they should not have a platform anymore. We should take them down because they didn't vote the way I wanted them to.
Yeah.
You're not going to hear that from me.
I mean, we might complain about shit. We might complain about cartoons or comic books or the state of the industry or whatever. But I don't think we've ever called for anybody to be. The only time I've ever called for anybody to be fired is just sort of speaking as a business owner. If we had employees that were out there constantly trying to stir shit up on social media and it made us look bad as an employer, I would be like, yeah, this reflects badly on us. We got to rethink this relationship.
And if you think it's going to end right now, it's not. And these
No.
companies, you want to play into it. You're pandering to these extremists. That's what they are. They're extremists, and you're pandering to these people. You better watch it because they're going to go after you next. They're just going down the damn list.
Yeah, they actually have a boycott list, donegood.co, but it's funny because they're ignoring companies like Walt Disney that actually were giving a lot more to Donald Trump. They're darlings over here at Comcast and Amazon and Starbucks and
we're not saying this for any other reason to prove a point, which is what we've been saying. They all give to both anyway.
Yeah, it is one of the few scenes I actually liked in The Last Jedi was when Benicio del Toro's character explained to who was it? Finn. I think he was explaining to Finn that the good guys and the bad guys both bought from the same people. And the only ones benefiting were the arms dealers.
And no matter how much you want to sit in Twitter and scream about it, it doesn't change it. And you have to understand that in the real world, people are allowed to do it. If you are allowed to have your rights, they're allowed to have theirs too. And I'm so tired of these whiny baby bitches, for lack of a better term, going around yelling about anybody who didn't do what they wanted. It's like, they don't have to do what you want.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's just the way it is. And I'm sorry you don't like it. Boo the fuck who?
We're going to wrap this up.
Sorry, Mom. Yes.
Boo the fuck who. We're going to wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.